Welcome to the Deep Dive. We know you're busy, you want the key info, so let's get right into it.
Yeah, we've been digging into the music world news from around May 11th, 2025. A real mix this week.
Loads of sources, news, reports, industry stuff, you name it. Covering classical, pop, audiophile tech, the works.
And our mission, well, it's to pull out the important stuff for you, the key developments.
Make it clear, engaging, and hopefully save you some time keeping up. Okay, let's dive in. Where should we start?
It's interesting how much is going on across the board. Seems like a lot of activity everywhere, really.
Let's kick off with the classical scene then. One big thing was this collective action. Over 400 American classical musicians signing a letter.
Right, concerning free speech. Specifically relating to the previous U.S. administration.
It's quite a statement, isn't it? Artists stepping into that wider conversation. What really jumps out at you there?
Well, the number itself is significant, of course. But are they being specific, about particular incidents or policies? That detail would really clarify the core issues around artistic expression they're raising.
Good point. It definitely makes you think about artists and, well, political power historically.
Yeah, absolutely.
And staying in the U.S., we've seen some important leadership changes. The Chicago Sinfonietta has a new president and CEO.
And the Jackson Symphony appointed a new music director, too.
Exactly. These kinds of changes often hint at, well, maybe new directions, artistically or organizationally.
They really can reshape things. You look at their backgrounds, right? Have they championed contemporary music before? What's their track record with, say, community engagement? That stuff gives clues.
Definitely clues about where things might be headed.
Yeah.
And thinking bigger, globally, the violinist Janine Jansen. She's been named Artist in Residence at the Berlin Philharmonic.
Wow. That's a huge deal. Berlin Phil residency is top tier.
Seriously prestigious. What does a role like that actually mean for her and for the orchestra?
Well, it usually means a deeper creative link. For Jansen, it's a chance for intense collaboration, maybe unique performances, recordings. For the orchestra, it brings in her specific voice, could spark new ideas, new projects.
Interesting. Okay, shifting to awards. Composer Susie Ibarra won the Pulitzer Prize for Music.
Yeah, it's fantastic news. Huge recognition for her work in contemporary classical, and her Filipino heritage adds another important dimension.
Why is the Pulitzer such a benchmark in classical music?
Well, it often highlights really innovative, maybe challenging new works. So Ibarra's win celebrates her, obviously, but also helps bring more attention to diverse voices in contemporary music. Good for the whole field,
Makes sense. We also heard about Ana Rita Coelho winning the Cascais Opera Competition. More recognition for emerging talent.
Definitely. Competitions play a big role there.
And orchestral appointments. Nicholas Sharma, he's the new RBC resident conductor and youth orchestra conductor for the Toronto Symphony.
Oh, good for him. That focus on young conductors and youth orchestras is so important.
What's the real value of those resident conductor roles?
Oh, they're crucial stepping stones. You get invaluable experience, mentorship, conducting pros. It's how you learn the craft. And a strong youth orchestra. That's your future audience and performers right there.
Vital pipeline, then.
Totally.
Okay, jumping across the pond. The BBC Concert Orchestra. They're now the first associate orchestra at Alexandra Palace in London.
Palace. Okay, that's interesting. Expanding their London footprint.
Seems like it. What kind of opportunities could that open up for them, for the public?
Well, a stronger base there could mean reaching new audiences, maybe collaborations with other groups at Palace, different kinds of concerts, maybe education programs too. Lots of potential.
Sounds promising. And speaking of big events, the Vienna Philharmonic's Summer Night Concert for 2025. Schönbrunn Palace.
Ah, yes. Always spectacular.
Guggen Sokiev conducting, Peter Bitsa singing,
Yeah.
and the Vienna Boys Choir joining for the first time.
The boys' choir too. Wow, that adds something special. What makes that concert so iconic?
Well, it's the setting, obviously. Schönbrunn is stunning. Plus the Vienna Phil, world class. And it's usually free, open air, like huge audience access.
Exactly. That combination is unique. And adding the choir, yeah, that'll be memorable.
Meanwhile, the London Symphony Orchestra is keeping busy. They're touring Spain right now with Dudamel.
Right, Gustavo Dudamel.
And back in London, they've got 4 world premieres coming up from their Sound Hub composers.
Ah, nice balance. Touring the big stuff, but also nurturing new work.
Why is that balance so critical for an orchestra like the LSO?
It's essential for keeping things fresh, really. Touring familiar classics brings in the crowds, keeps the connection, but premiering new stuff. That keeps the art form alive, evolving, talking to today's world. It's honoring the past while, building the future.
Well put. And down under, the Sydney Symphony Orchestra has a packed May. Tchaikovsky 6.
The Pathétique. Always powerful.
Alongside Australian contemporary pieces, and Brahms Piano Concerto No. 1. Soloists like Daniel Lozakovich and Stephen Helf.
That's a great mix. International heavy hitters and local flavor.
What's the goal with that kind of programming, typically?
Often it's about appealing broadly. You get the beloved masterpieces, but also showcase your own national talent, your own composers. Connects locally, but still part of the global scene.
Makes sense. And just a quick mention, tons of concerts and opera happening across Europe, too. Paris, London, Vienna, Prague. Busy time.
Those cities are always major hubs for classical music, yeah. Plenty to see and hear.
Okay, competitions are running, too. The Montreal Voice Competition, Kleinstrings, the Clyburn Piano.
Big ones. Really important for launching careers.
What role do they play overall?
They're basically launch pads, give young artists crucial international exposure, performance chances, often kickstart their whole professional life. And they set a really high bar, artistically.
Got it. Now, this next piece of news is, well, quite moving. The Kharkiv Music Fest is back in Ukraine.
Despite everything, yeah, I saw that.
They're using underground venues, like musical sanctuaries.
Incredible, just incredible resilience. What does that tell us?
About art in crisis. It shows that fundamental need, right? For beauty, connection. Even when things are terrible, music offers solace, hope, identity. It's defiance, really.
A testament to the human spirit, absolutely.
On a lighter note, some new recordings out. Black Oak Ensemble's Dance of the Night Sky, Austin Woolman's Escape Rights.
Good to see new stuff getting recorded. It's how contemporary music gets heard more widely.
And pianist Geneva Canna-Mason, her debut solo album, Fantasy.
Yes. Interesting programming on that one.
Right. Debussy, Chopin, Scriabin, but also Florence Price, Margaret Bonds, William Grant still.
Fantastic. Bringing those often overlooked African-American composers into the mix.
Why is that inclusion so important, do you think?
It just enriches everything. Our understanding of history, the repertoire itself, it challenges the old narratives, gives a fuller picture of who contributed, celebrates more voices.
Definitely. Gramophone also put out their editor's choice for May. Lise Davidson is Senta, some rediscovered Bolt and Ravel performances.
Always worth checking those picks. What do they usually signify? Usually recordings with exceptional artistry, maybe great sound, or they offer some fresh insight. They guide you to the really standout stuff, sometimes historical gems, too.
Helpful guides. Okay, shifting to broader trends. There's a Viola da Gambist doing a UK tour entirely by bicycle.
By bike, wow.
Yeah, for 3 months, raising environmental awareness about touring's impact.
That's quite a commitment. What does that say about musicians today?
Maybe a growing sense of responsibility. Using their platform beyond just performance, tackling bigger issues like sustainability.
Interesting angle, connecting the art form to very current concerns.
And conversely, maybe some challenges. Reports suggest classical music in China, piano sales declining, linked to youth culture shifts, economic factors.
That's noteworthy. Makes you think about global trends. Why might that be happening in China?
Could be lots of things, right? Computing leisure activities, cost of instruments, lessons, different entertainment focus. Shows how culture and economics shape music trends differently everywhere.
True.
But on the access front, something positive in the UK. The Association of British Orchestras is pushing for an orchestra in every school.
Oh, that's a great initiative, music education access.
Why is that early exposure considered so beneficial?
Loads of reasons. Cognitive benefits, creativity boost, emotional development, plus it can just foster a lifelong love for the arts, build future audiences, maybe inspire future players.
Crucial stuff. And finally, just quickly, Classical Music Daily looked at music and the visual world in May.
Interesting intersection.
And BBC Music Magazine covered WWII music, Sibelius, Vaughan Williams. These deeper dives really add context, don't they?
Absolutely. Connecting music to history, other arts, it deepens the appreciation, shows its impact.
Right. Okay, shall we move into the pop and rock world?
Let's do it. Plenty happening there, too.
Yeah.
Starting with another big artist statement.
Yeah, another letter. This time from pop and rock giants Elton John, Dua Lipa, Coldplay. Over 400 artists.
All urging updates to copyright law, specifically about AI.
Feels like a really critical moment for the industry, doesn't it? What's the main worry?
The core concern. It's about AI potentially spitting out music that infringes on existing copyrights. But also, bigger questions. Who owns AI-generated music? How do human creators get compensated fairly? They want legal rules that protect their work, basically.
Yeah, protect their intellectual property in this new tech landscape.
Exactly.
On a totally different note, Miley Cyrus was talking about family stuff, pushing back on some rumors.
Right. Those personal stories always get attention. How much does that kind of media focus impact an artist's actual career, do you think?
It's tricky, isn't it? Can boost visibility, connect with fans maybe,
Mm.
but also brings intense scrutiny, can distract from the music. It's that constant public versus private balancing act.
Yeah, a double-edged sword for sure.
Then there was Harry Styles popping up at the Vatican.
Oh yeah, for the Pope Leo the 14th unveiling. Well, his just being there caused a stir online.
Totally. Just shows how even a simple appearance gets amplified, sparks fan theories. What's that about, the fan celeb thing now?
It really highlights those parasocial relationships online. Fans feel connected, so even small things get magnified, debated, intense engagement.
Right. Unfortunately, some cancellations too. Alice in Chains had to stop their tour.
Medical emergency for Sean Kinney, the drummer.
Yeah. And Claro pulled out a Primavera Sound. Hope they're both doing okay.
Definitely. Tough for the fans too, obviously.
Yes.
And for the artists, crew, venues, ripple effect.
True. The support you see online, though, it shows that strong bond.
It does.
We also lost a country music figure this week, Johnny Rodriguez.
Ah, yes. That's the way love goes. Big Hispanic artist in country, 73.
What was his main contribution, would you say?
He was a real trailblazer. Got mainstream country success when Hispanic artists weren't really visible there. Smooth voice, crossover appeal. He definitely broadened the genre's sound and audience. Left a mark.
A significant loss. And speaking of tours, The Who announced another farewell tour.
Ah. Yeah, seems like farewell tours can be extended engagement sometimes. What keeps them going back?
Could be lots of things, right? Genuine love of playing, connecting with fans one last time, again. And let's be honest, the finances probably play a part too.
Plus, they're the Who. People still want to see them.
Absolutely. Okay, let's talk business. Bad Bunny, reportedly facing a lawsuit.
Over an uncleared sample. Yeah. Afrobeats this time.
These legal fights over samples seem constant now. What makes sampling so tricky, legally?
Well, you're using part of someone else's recording. Copyright law says you need permission from who owns the recording and who owns the song itself. It gets complicated figuring out infringement, especially with short bits or if it's heavily changed. Ownership itself can be complex.
Definitely a minefield. Warner Music Group reported lower revenue, but they sound optimistic.
Yeah, interesting peek inside a major label. What are the big challenges and chances for companies like Warner now?
Well, streaming's dominant, right? That changes the revenue game compared to physical sales. But it also means global reach. They're juggling that, plus artist compensation debates, indie artist growth, and yeah, new tech like AI. Lots on their plate.
A rapidly changing world for them.
And ticketing is back in the spotlight. U.S. Justice Department, FTC, a new probe.
Ah, ticketing. An issue close to many fans' hearts or wallets.
For sure. High prices, fees, availability. What are the usual complaints?
Lack of transparency is a big one. Hidden fees popping up, scalpers, the whole secondary market mess. Just making it hard for regular fans to get tickets fairly. Regulators want to make it fairer.
We'll see what comes of that. Quick streaming note. Apple approved a Spotify app update. Finally, after a court ruling.
Right, shows the ongoing tension between the big tech platforms and streaming services.
What does that signal about the power dynamics?
It really underlines the power of platform owners like Apple. They control access to their stores, their devices, so the relationship with services like Spotify is always a negotiation. Fees, data, competition rules, it's complex.
Gotcha. And SoundCloud responded to concerns about AI.
Clarifying their terms, right.
Yeah.
Saying they don't use artist content to train AI.
Yeah, reaffirming commitment to human creators. Why was that clarification needed, do you think?
Well, with all the anxiety around AI using copyrighted stuff for training, they probably felt they had to reassure artists, your work is safe here, we're not feeding it to the machines without permission. Trust is key for a platform like SoundCloud.
Makes perfect sense. Okay, ready to switch to audio gear.
Let's geek out a bit. Audiophile and tech news. What's new?
Bowers & Wilkins kicked things off with P8 McLaren Edition wireless earbuds.
Ah, the B&W and McLaren link up. High performance meets, high performance.
What's the draw with these audio meets auto collaborations?
It's often about shared brand values, right? Precision engineering, premium design. You're appealing to people who appreciate both high-end sound and, sleek, fast cars, leveraging prestige.
Got it. PS Audio announced their upcoming PMG Signature Series. High-end stuff coming fall 2025.
PS Audio, big name for serious audiophiles. What makes a signature series special from them? Typically, it's their absolute best. Pinnacle their engineering, best components, maybe cost no object design. It's for people chasing that ultimate listening experience.
Okay. HIFIMAN started shipping the Aria unveiled headphones. These have a removable back panel, a magnetic veil.
Yeah, that's intriguing. A removable back panel, how might that change the sound?
Well, that back panel affects airflow, resonance inside the ear cup. So removing it or maybe changing it could alter the soundstage, how open it sounds, maybe detail levels, overall tone, lets you tweak the sound profile.
Customizable listening. Interesting idea.
Rotel introduced the DX5 integrated amplifier, high-res DAC, good power output.
Okay, versatile piece for modern setups. What's a DC again for those maybe less familiar?
Digital to analog converter. Crucial bit that turns your digital music files from your computer, streamer, whatever, back into an analog signal your amplifier and speakers can actually use. A good DC means better sound from digital sources.
Right, so the Rotel DX5 is like an all-in-one for digital and amplification.
Pretty much. Wireworld launched Series 10 audiophile cables. Better performance, new look.
Ah, cables. Always a topic in high-end audio. Why are specialized cables seen as important?
The idea is minimizing signal loss and interference. Getting the audio signal from A to B, say source to amp or amp to speakers, as cleanly as possible, so you hear everything the rest of your expensive gear is capable of.
Maximum fidelity transfer.
That's the goal. DALI released their Epicor speaker line, culmination of 40 years of R&D, they say.
40 years. That's serious heritage. What would audiophiles expect from a new flagship like Epicor? You'd expect their absolute latest thinking. New driver tech, clever cabinet designs, aiming for exceptional clarity, detail, maybe a really immersive sound, the best DLI can do.
Sounds impressive. SVS announced new flagship subwoofers, the 17 Ultra Revolution series. Complete redesign.
SVS. Known for big bass. What makes a subwoofer truly high-end? Power is part of it, but it's also about control. Deep, powerful bass, yes, but also tight, accurate, without distortion, even way down low. Quality drivers, smart enclosure design, sophisticated amp and processing, that all matters.
Got it. NED's Masters M10 V3 streaming amplifier is now shipping. Enhanced audio, new features.
These streaming amps are popular, aren't they? What's the big benefit?
Convenience, mostly. You get
Yeah.
the streamer, the DAC, the amplifier, all in one box. Simpler setup, fewer cables, easy access to Spotify, Tidal, whatever.
Yeah.
But still aiming for really high-quality sound. Best of both worlds for many.
Yeah,
Yeah, simplifies the system quite a bit.
definitely.
Pro-Ject unveiled the T1 EVO turntable line. Some models have Bluetooth, upgraded cartridges.
Turntables still innovating. Bluetooth on a turntable. Interesting. What makes this line stand out?
Seems like it's blending traditional vinyl playback with that modern ease of use, like Bluetooth. Might appeal to classic vinyl fans and newer folks who want simpler connection options without sacrificing too much sound quality.
Bridging the gap.
Kinda. Events-wise, Audio-Technica opened Technica House in New York, a salon space.
Connecting music, art, audiophiles. Cool concept.
Yeah.
Why have these physical spaces now?
Good question. Maybe it's about the hands-on experience. You can actually listen to gear, connect with other enthusiasts, offer something online shopping can't. Community building.
Tangible experiences.
Yeah. And Macintosh's House of Sound in NYC is still going strong too. Another place for immersive listening.
Right. What's the experience like there, usually?
You'd expect to hear Macintosh systems in really well-treated rooms, designed to show off what the gear can do at its best. High-end demo environment, basically.
Okay. A few other bits. Isoacoustics has new GAIA Neo speaker isolators. Isolation feet. Stop vibrations muddying the sound.
Exactly. And Lander released Lander Sampler, a plugin for producers working with samples.
More tools for music creators, always welcome.
Novation and Arturia announced new hardware and controller integrations too. Good news for electronic musicians.
Yeah, tighter links between hardware gear and software always helps the workflow, boosts creativity.
And Meze Audio debuted their 105 Silva open-back headphones at high-end Munich.
Right, high-end Munich, the big European audio show. Always lots of new product launches there.
Definitely the place to see the latest stuff. Finally, some reviews catching buzz. SVS Ultra Evolution Nano speakers getting good feedback.
Oh, little brothers to the big ones.
And the T+A Electroacoustic R2500R receiver, pricey German gear, getting praise.
T+A, yeah, high-end stuff.
HIFIMAN's Edition XS headphones, still popular, still well-reviewed.
Those seem to have really hit a sweet spot for price and performance.
Looks like it.
Yeah.
And in the turntable world, positive mentions for the Pro-Ject debut Evo 2 and the Rigaplaner 3.
Couple of classics in that mid-range turntable market. How helpful are these reviews for people looking to buy?
They could be really useful, right? Trusted reviewers give you insights into sound quality, build, value, helps you narrow down the options, make a more informed choice based on actual testing, and seeing continued buzz, like for the Edition XS, tells you something's working well.
Gives you some guidance in a crowded market.
Definitely. So as we wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah.
wow, it's clear things were buzzing around May 11th, 2025.
Absolutely. Across the board. Passionate artists speaking out in classical and pop, leadership changes, shaking things up, new music, great performances,
Yeah.
and just relentless tech innovation in audio.
Yeah, the themes that really stick out are that artist advocacy piece,
Right. Artists actively shaping the conversation.
the constant march of technology and how it affects making and listening to music.
The AI debate, the new gear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just the enduring power of live shows and that pursuit of amazing sound quality.
It really makes you think, doesn't it, about that relationship between tech and art? Like with AI getting deeper into music creation, what are the lines? Ethically, creatively? Where do we draw them?
That's a huge question. And in a world where music is everywhere digitally, what's the unique value of being there, at a live concert? What does that give us that streaming can't?
Yeah, what does that shared in-person experience mean now? Definitely lots to chew on.
Crucial questions, for sure. They'll keep shaping music's future.
Hmm.
What we talked about today is just, well, a snapshot of that evolution.
Indeed it is.
Well, thanks for taking this deep dive into the week's music news with us.
Always a pleasure.
We'll be back soon to explore another set of fascinating sources. Until then, keep listening.